with Janice Cobb of Save My Pet ID Tag. Engraved with your pet's info, they allow emergency personnel to start care for your pets if you're sick or injured. Head over to SaveMyPetIDTag.com and explore products. They ensure peace of mind for you and for your four-legged family.
You're about to meet a man whose accomplishments are, well, doggone great. I mean it, really. He is dedicated to bringing therapy dogs to libraries, schools, and other places to bring joy and happiness to us two-leggers. Please welcome to our show the founder of Certified Therapy Dog, Alan Lavine. Welcome, Alan.
Arden, thank you very much. It's a pleasure and honor to be here with you.
Well, everyone, I met Alan because I write a pet column that circulates in Palm Beach County, Florida. It is in the Coastal Star. And I got to talking to this man and I thought, he needs to be on our show because, yes, he's based in Palm Beach County, but his message, and he reaches out people all over the country and beyond. Isn't that right? People ask you about therapy dog programs.
We get emails, we get calls every day from coast to coast, corner to corner of the country.
Wow.
And while we operate principally locally, some of our graduates have dispersed throughout the country. But the reason we don't put where we operate principally on our website is because I don't want to turn people away from calling me from all over the country and soliciting the guidance of how they too could do it up in Washington State and Tennessee and Texas, for example.
Yeah, I love it.
And from that, I can guide them to finding local, not necessarily chapters, but facilities that may help them to bring the joy that they want to with their animals.
You're just a good dude, Alan. You are, because you're like, oh, nope, but not my table. Nope, not my jurisdiction. I don't think you've ever said those phrases, have you?
You know, we were thinking of going national with this organization, and we started to actually, but we met challenges that took our focus away from being able to do the work we wanted to do more locally. So if I can, like I say, focus on where we have a footprint and then guide people.
You mean a paw print.
Paw print, that's true. That is true. Very good. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of getting my older dog's paw print tattooed on my foot because that seems to be wherever she stands.
And you just segued perfectly, Alan, because people need to know about you have two dogs, but we're going to talk first about Sophie, who is the title of your book. Everybody, it's on Amazon. It's called Sophie, the Amazing Therapy Dog, A Passion for Compassion. Tell everybody who Sophie is.
Well, Sophie is actually my lighthouse through this whole process. She started me on it. I won't bore you with the long version of the story, but about 15 years ago, I went through something of a physical nature that threatened my life. I was actually given 2 months to live.
Wow.
By all evidence, I survived.
Obviously, you're on our show. I'm so nice to see you in the flesh.
If ever I doubt it, I'll listen to the recordings later.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
And obviously came through it, and then life took over, and I was just left wondering why I was given a second chance. I couldn't answer the question for the longest time. We happened to have walked into a pet store, and I found this little fluffy fur ball, and we went to play with it, and I looked at my wife and said, "You're coming home with me, both of you." And if
your
one
wife
doesn't,
appreciates that.
There's your choice.
Right?
We had her trained. I took her to a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful woman who started this whole concept of therapy dogs, mainly to bring her own dog into the hospital to visit her husband.
Aww.
We worked very closely. She was amazingly impactful on helping me find that purpose. And then through that program, it was a 4 or 5 person group. Mm-hmm. Then through that program, I was exposed to the kindness you can bring with the animals and the joy that it brings back to you.
Yes.
I've really discovered the notion that the way to find your own happiness is to bring it to others.
I say amen, Alan, on that one. What kind of dog is Sophie? And she's kind of a senior dog now.
Well, she's turning the corner to be 15.
Wow.
She's a standard size golden doodle.
Wow.
She's had a very storied working career. There's almost no place you can go in Palm Beach County without saying, "Is that Sophie?" Or without hearing, I should say, "Is that Sophie?" And by the way, who were you? So she gets all the accolades. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Well, the reason being, I understand. Tell me if my math is right or wrong. But haven't you two logged how many therapy dog visits together in Palm Beach County with certified therapy dog? You got a good guesstimate?
Oh, let's say, we do therapy dog visits. Let's do the math together. 4 days a week.
Wow.
Times 52 weeks a year times the last 14 years. So it's a ton of visits. It's a lot. You don't realize it gets to be the thousands very quickly. We don't really record them. A lot of people who come through our program do record them because being an AKC recommended organization, they accept the number of hours that our members log, and they achieve different levels, basically different patches, a 10-hour patch, a 40-hour patch, a 100-hour patch. It's very meaningful for a lot of people. Frankly, I just do it for the blast that I get on the way out the door. I always say you walk into a children's hospital, but you float back out. It just feels so good.
Well, certified therapy dog, we got to get that website out there. What is it? And it's probably very obvious, but you're the man.
Well, it was very creatively developed once we created the name of the name of the corporation, certifieddtherapydog.com.
Thank you. And for the 3 people on the planet that don't know what AKC means and why it's a big deal that your certified therapy dog program is certified by them, who the heck are they?
Oh, it's a major affirmation. We're very, very proud. AKC stands for the American Kennel Club. American Kennel Club. Some of the dog shows you see on during
Thanksgiving
holidays, where all the most magnificent animals. That's hosted by the American Kennel Club. It's a 200-year-old organization, chartered basically to maintain standards throughout various dog breeds. Over the years, there was a realization, and of course I can't talk on their behalf, but there are many dogs that do many good things.
Right.
And the AKC extended its wonderful equity, its own brand imagery, to offer very specific companies, select companies who meet certain criteria and who promise to maintain certain standards, their recommendation. We're actually on their website. If you go to akc.org, type in therapy dogs, we come up as a recommendation. We're linked on there.
That's good cred, man. That's good cred. In fact, we actually have had a recent guest on our show from the AKC because they're almost 200 years old. And this lady was full of facts and findings. And she did mention the importance that there's dogs there for best in show, but also therapy dogs and dogs that do sporting things. So it's a good time to be a dog, isn't it, Alan?
I know. I want to come back as my dog. That's for sure. Yeah, but we actually combine our efforts. We do have a presence where we have geographic reach and we do exhibit at the dog shows. We do have a certified therapy dog booth at the dog shows, principally the ones throughout Palm Beach County.
And tell us the benefit of that for people coming, people maybe showing their dogs. Anxiety, stress, all that stuff's bubbling up when you're in a show, right?
Well, it's funny how it's really 2 different audiences. There's the show folks, and then there's the rest of us folks, I guess. But, we come together with the commonality and just love of the pets. And it's nice when these people can be exposed to the fact that there's just other things you can do with this furry little creature who you enjoy spending your entire life with already.
Exactly.
And a lot of times the show status of a dog only lasts its first few years. Much of that is to gain credibility for later breeding purposes. But nonetheless, we present something else for the people to do once they're finished with their show tours. A lot of people who run into us at the shows actually have approached us and asked us, and we've said yes, if they could participate in our program, not only from the therapy dog side, but to help me teach the therapy dog classes, because I train all the therapy dog classes as well.
Yeah, because think about it, these dogs are well-mannered and they've already got a paw up on learning what it is to be a therapy dog. We're speaking with Alan Lavine. I want you to check out certifieddtherapydog.com. We're going to dive into life with therapy dogs after we take a quick break. And you all know the drill. We're going to sit and stay. We'll be right back.
Hey, have you heard? Four-Legged Life has a new digital newsletter. Here, let me show you how you get yourself subscribed. So you just type in Four-Legged Life and that'll take you to the website. There we go. And this magic thing just appears, and you type in your email address. I'll use, let's see, how about coolestdogever@gmail.com. That's me. And then you just click on this thing here. There you go. It's the new digital newsletter from Four-Legged Life. Get subscribed today.
Welcome back to the Four-Legged Life Show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I'm having a great time with a wonderful man. His name is Alan Lavine. He is the founder of Certified Therapy Dog. They're based in Palm Beach County, Florida, but they help and answer questions about people interested in getting into therapy programs with their pets all over the place. And we were talking a little bit about that. What does it take, Alan, to be a good therapy team? Not a therapy dog, a therapy team. That means a 2 and a 3 or 4-legger, right? Paired up.
Well, there's two ends of the leash, and both matter very, very much. The first thing it takes is a kind-hearted person, because nothing's going to happen without that.
Good.
You know, there are people. It's my personal belief that there are people. There are wonderful people. There are fabulous people who own dogs, and the people who own dogs who want to do therapy dog work and bring empathy and kindness and joy to others are just the cream of the crop. And I'm very fortunate to have put my stick in the ground into that area where there's a homogeneity of kindness operating in the back.
We need more of that. We need more of that.
But in order to answer your question, of course, it takes a commitment from the individual on that side of the leash. On the lower side of the leash, the clip side, everything starts with an evaluation. It starts with a conversation on a telephone with an initial kind of inquiry about the dog. And then we take it from there, and then we'll arrange for an in-person evaluation. And it's mostly for me to put hands on. From the moment both of us get out of the car, that test is on.
Good.
And I want to see that the dog is generally chilled out. It's not aggressive. It doesn't lunge. It's not very barky, bitey, things like that.
And the person doesn't do that either.
That's the initial interview. And the same rules apply to the person. Then they're invited into the classes that we hold.
Good.
And the classes are 10 weeks in length.
Mm-hmm.
They meet once a week for about an hour and a half. We incorporate, because of our sponsorship by the AKC, we incorporate all 3 of the canine good citizenship levels in the program, the CGC levels, CGC, CGCA, and CGCU. They're incorporated into the program because they all feed toward obedience, the interpretation, the training for obedience, and then the application for that obedience training into the kind of crazy environments that we're going to be taking the people and the dogs.
Give us some places. And personally, I want to do a shout out to therapy programs because I'm on my second set. Kona is a terrier mix. She's a certified therapy dog. And my orange tabby, Casey, is a certified therapy cat. And we go to memory care centers, schools, hospitals, and we teach pet first aid. But you're kind of like the godfather of a dog father of therapy teams. So you talked about the training, and it doesn't matter the breed or the size or the age of the dog. They need to make sure they pass these canine good citizen requirements because you want to make it safe for the person and that pet, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, we're not breed specific in any way, shape, or form. Now, quite honestly, we've had so much experience across so many breeds.
Oh, sure.
We know some of the issues that some are going to offer. It's not overwhelming. You know, there's been a lot of science about it, and less than 10% of a dog's behavior can really be traced down to breed specific genetics.
Interesting.
You know, the real things that I've come across are part of our effort toward obedience is the watch me, the constant connection through the eyes, because without that, there's no obedience that really follows. But the herding breeds, you know, they're always a challenge. I always find them to be more peripherally oriented because of their nature. And that's a challenge to maintaining that laser focus to the owner.
Well, my first therapy dog was a Pembroke Corgi named Jazz. So yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. But just
over here.
Just to fill in the rest of the question, you know, in terms of what does it take? We have 10-week training once a week, presuming all goes well, and you pass those 3 different levels of the AKC, along with other performance criteria.
That's good, though.
That's really more training oriented, and we are a safety oriented group. I want to train my people to be situationally oriented immediately upon entering a room and preemptive to circumvent any possibility of undesirable behavior.
Good.
And that's a lot of training for the person now that the dog's training is somewhat over. So after the 10 weeks of classes, we require them to join us on 5 supervised visits. We go to hundreds and hundreds of places every month.
That's so cool. I love this.
And we have supervisors at every single one. I'm sure we'll get to that, the types of places we go to. And every one of those locations have supervisors for each of those visits. And we place the newbies in gradually increasing degrees of difficulty. We get reports on them after every one of their visits.
Good.
Make any kind of corrective commentary that we need. And then after the 5 visits, they're considered certified with us. And then they have the opportunity to choose where they want to go from the newsletter that we publish every single month.
So give us some examples of where these wonderful therapy dogs can go and do a body good and a mind good.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's hard to chronologize it, but starting from cradle to grave, basically.
Okay.
Well, we go to most of the children's and adults hospitals.
Nice.
Throughout both Broward and Palm Beach County. We are invited to go into pediatric intensive care, pediatric ER.
Good.
And the impact that the dogs have on the children as well as the families that are in that location. It's just enormous. You walk in and your job is done. The dog does the rest of the work. You don't have to do it.
Exactly.
So we have the pediatric hospitals and of course the adult hospitals too. Interestingly, we take about 5 minutes per room per child on average. There's no time limit, but we can't get past the nurse's station in under a half an hour.
Well, think about nurses and doctors, the medical team. They're under a lot of stress.
Oh, my goodness.
And they have to be there for the patients, be there in the present moment and freak out and blah, 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 later because the patient needs them now.
Oh, yeah. It's a wonderful thing. And it's interesting how the nurses, you don't give them as much credit as they deserve to. But the nurses know every single person under their charge. And they know which ones would like the dogs and which ones to stay with.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
We always check in with the nurses' stations first. Always.
Okay.
Because there's communicable disease.
So what other places? Because we've got a couple minutes left. It goes by fast.
We have a library reading program. We call it the ARF program, Animal Reading Friends.
I'm glad it isn't BARF. What's
that?
ARF? I'm glad it isn't the BARF program. The
we don't
ARF program? What's that stand for again, Alan?
Animal Reading Friends.
Okay.
Where the librarians in the children's section schedule children to come in 10 or 15-minute increments and individually read to the dogs. That was our first conversation. Frankly, I don't care if the child's holding the book upside down and making it up as they go along, as long as they're associating a joyful experience with getting back into a book in front of them.
Okay, what's a couple other places your dogs show up?
We populate the courthouse in Palm Beach County and Broward County.
Okay.
They have what's called a caring canine program.
Nice.
And principally on the juvenile side, but we can't go anywhere near the campus without the judges calling us into chambers also. We sit with the children who are either under Department of Children's and Families care or under somehow under the care of the judicial system, whether they're under parental review, temporarily removed from the home, maybe have committed a crime, drug issues, things like that. So we populate that. We are the training institute for Trustbridge Hospice throughout South Florida. If any dog and owner wants to volunteer there, they have to come through our training program. We work with many of the general dog rescue leagues, the hospitals, the libraries, many assisted living facilities, the VA hospital. We're at the VA this month, especially. We're at the VA hospital all the time. One of the great tributes to our organization was that during the Parkland, immediately following the Parkland shooting, I started to teach a class down in Coral Springs, and that class was populated by the parents who lost their children in that tragedy. If they had a dog and wanted to train, they were invited for free to take the class. The president, the CEO of the organization is called JAFCO, amazing organization. She and I had a grand plan that we told nobody about. To invite these parents in, kind of to give them a first step toward normalcy in their life. Not that they will ever regain what they once find as normalcy, but they came through the training program. And then what we would do is take them and their dogs back to children's shelters run by JAFCO. And by then I knew them very, very well. And there was nothing hidden at that point. And I could go to them and say, I'll never bring your own child back, but Look what you and your dog can do.
Thank
for
you.
another
That's very good.
difficult
You know,
person.
we just got a little bit of time left. We're speaking with Alan Lavine. I love this man, and I love what he's doing with the certified therapy dog teams. They're all based in Palm Beach County, but they help anyone, anywhere, as he just illustrated. You have a Sophie, you have another dog, Loki, who's younger. I love that. What is one thing you could share with people that Sophie and Loki have done to make you, Alan, a better human?
You know, they've enabled something that I think is in all of us. You know, so many times the weight of our own egos, the weight of our own lives really suppress our own humanity from emerging and just being nice to one another. We lose sight of the fact we think we have to be so self-serving throughout our entire lives. And that's so limiting. It really is, because there's just so much you can do for yourself. But when you turn outward and see that your self-worth can be defined by how much you help others, it's an endless stream of just validation for yourself. And and you don't even know you're doing it. You really don't. You're just having a good time with your dog. That's all you're doing.
Good time with a good purpose. And that's who you are. Alan Lavine, I'm so glad you've been on our show. You survived. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life.
Four-Legged Life.
Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content.
Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.